My mom's not going to back down from a challenge.
I love it. Thank you. I think Chris Peterson showed me something. Did you send her a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to need that Tupperware back, but.
Wow. I'm excited.
Yeah, she says if it's no good, she's not doing push-ups.
Yeah, she's good. Thank you. Thank you, Joanna. Is it Joanna?
Yeah.
Thank you, Joanna.
Well, we have questions, Coach.
Hey, James, you've talked a lot about the tackles for loss and the sacks. Why has it been so good the second half of the season? And I know you like to say a combination of things. So, like, what are the top 2 or 3 reasons?
I think the biggest thing is one of the differences with with Manny is in the past, whether it was Bob or whether it was Brent, we were more gap control. So we would take on a half a man and basically play through a man into our gap, where we're more vertical pressure, more gap control by getting vertical through the gap. which allows you obviously to be more disruptive. And as our guys got more and more comfortable with that, you've been playing a certain way for a long time, and you start to play a little bit more confident within the scheme and what we're teaching them to do, and trusting in that. Then opportunities for negative yardage plays. I mean, you could just, from a common sense approach, if I'm playing into mark rather than shooting inside a mark, obviously you got a chance to penetrate and create negative plays and tackles for loss. But every single guy better be doing their job, because if you create vertical seams and not everybody is in their gap, then you obviously can also put yourself in a position to give up a big play. So we're more consistent across the board with playing within the scheme and playing fast and aggressive. And if you're a defensive player, specifically a defensive lineman or a linebacker, I can't imagine there's a more productive system to play in. So that's the other positive from this. Not only do our guys get an opportunity to make plays, but it's attractive to the recruits coming in, the type of defense we play.
Toby talked earlier this. Go ahead, John. You had mentioned in the past with Abdul Carter that like seeing moving Mike down the line. How do you evaluate when someone's kind of ready to do that from a communicatory standpoint of having to call the defense and everything like that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a short-term thing. What I'm saying is, I think I could see that in his future. Obviously, with two young players that are coming on for us at Mike linebacker right now, I don't know if that's necessarily needed. But obviously, the more things that you can do, the better. I could see this spring our Mike's taking some reps and getting some work at will, and I could see some of our Wills getting some work at Mike linebacker. So we'll see how that all plays out. I do think it gives a better understanding of the defense and allows Manny and us to have a little bit more moving parts. So now you're in a situation where you're just saying, okay, let's get the next best linebacker on the field. Mike's a little tricky though. It's almost like you gotta live in that world full time, because there's just a lot on that guy's plate. But you never know what the future holds.
Earlier this summer or earlier this season, Kobe talked about getting into meditation over the pandemic. He said there were advantages that actually serve him well in the field, being calm, staying in the moment. That cerebral approach, how much is that something that you see in practice and games and that maybe you can attribute to the success he's had this season?
Yeah, I can't really speak on that because I was unaware of it. Obviously, Adriana Napolitano does a great job for us. I hope I just said her name. Oh, did I? Good. Does a really good job in working with our guys with whether it's mindfulness or whatever it is, and they kind of all use different approaches to help with it. Some guys embrace it more than others, but I can't speak on that because I was unaware that he was doing it to the level you're talking about.
James, we saw Donald out there on the practice field today. Last week when we talked to Taylor said that he's been a great resource to just kind of talk shop, I guess. What is it like having him as a resource and being able to have someone with his track record out there to just be around and be a presence?
Well, he's not around. I mean, they don't live here. They live outside of Dallas. But they were here today. We had a bunch of parents here today. You didn't talk about any of the other parents.
I didn't see any of them on the field though.
Gotcha. Obviously, with his football background, he can kind of navigate the field and know where to go and where to be and those types of things. But it's just a parent at practice. Obviously, he's got a different experience, and obviously talking to our team and things like that. Whether it's as a player or whether it's Super Bowl or as a businessman, he's done a great job in a lot of different areas. So we've had a bunch of different parents with different backgrounds, and the only difference with him is obviously it's correlated strongly, obviously, with what we do day in and day out.
James, big picture wise, what would it mean to the Big Ten to finally get two teams into the college football playoff? And are you aware of the debates about whether or not the loser of the Ohio State-Michigan game belongs in that scenario?
Yeah, I'm aware. There's a lot of things like other teams being in the top 10. There's a lot of things that I think the Big Ten should be pounding the table and promoting, like the other conference does. I've been in that conference. I know they are pounding the table and promoting through a lot of different resources. So, yeah, I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm focusing my energy on beating Michigan State and playing well, and hopefully that takes care of itself. But I got a lot of things I could say right now, but it's probably not appropriate.
You saw Drew eat it out there, which is part of practice. But how do you balance the repetition and the bubble wrapping? I mean, how do you use the next month to get him more prepared, but at the same time, are diligent about what he means for your future?
Yeah, I think you got to be smart and strategic about how you practice and what you do. But I don't think you can kind of live the way you described it. You got to be strategic, and you got to have a plan. And obviously you don't want to take on more risk with any of our guys than needed. You got to. There's some risk involved in our game. There always will be. And you gotta, whether it's practice or games or whatever it may be, all of those risks have to be factored in. So whether you're going full speed, whether you're going live, whether you're going thud, whether you're going tag off, whatever it may be, all those things kind of factor in for all our guys at really every position. And after that, you just kind of live with it. You'll drive yourself crazy if you're trying to do that. And not only that, you won't get the guys prepared the way they need to be.
How would you evaluate PJ's season, 11 games in, coming back from injury?
Yeah, really good. He's been great. I just got done talking to him. I think this group of captains has been as good as we have had. They've been really good. And I'm not talking about just what's happened on the game field. I'm talking about the stuff away from the field, in the meeting room, Saturday night when the coaches aren't around. They've been really good. And PJ's had as good of a season when you combine those two things as a player and a leader for us has been awesome.
Hey, James, what did you learn spending time with John Schaefer last weekend?
So, I don't know if I would say anything kind of specific. To be honest with you, I don't get as much time with these guys as I would like. Friday night I was out recruiting, and that's when most of the time was spent with those guys. So I got a chance to spend some time with them at dinner. But I think more than anything for me, it was just a really good example of how many impressive, proud Letterman and alumni that we have out there that I think are a really good resource for the players, for our staff. And it's something that I think, we need to continue to tap into and invest. And I know he was glad to be back and around as well. But he's an impressive guy. He's got an impressive resume. He was great with us as a staff. He was great with the players. So to me, it was just a reminder of how many really impressive Lettermen and alumni that we have out there. And that's one of our strengths. When you got one of the largest alumni bases, when you have one of the largest alumni bases in the world, that's an obvious strength of ours. And we need to be tapping into it. And there's so many things that we can use as a resource, whether it's internships, whether it's him talking to the team, whether it's his experiences, life after football. It was really good to spend time. And I think what we have found is the guys that have come back and been around and given the new regime a chance. It's been I think a real positive relationship in both directions. We've really enjoyed it, and I think they have as well. I think for him, I know he talked about how it just brought back a bunch of really good memories. So it's a shame that this is the first time I really have spent time with him, but I thought it was a real positive.
James, it looked like Kevon Lee was back out there practicing today. Could he return this week, and how big of a boost would that be for the running back room?
Yeah, we'll see. We'd love to have him back. Those are medical decisions. I think it'll be more of a game time decision and things like that. There's been some weeks where we thought he was going to be back. It hasn't played itself out that way. So we're just waiting for the medical staff and to get the full clear go from the medical staff and Kevon.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So that wraps up head coach James Franklin's weekly media availability here as you're watching the Unrivaled weekly preview show, taking a look at our matchup. 11th ranked Penn State, 9-2, 6-2 in the Big Ten, welcoming Michigan State to Beaver Stadium on Saturday. The Spartans 5-6, 3-5 in the conference, coming off a tough 39-31 double overtime loss against Indiana. Penn State, meanwhile, has won 3 in a row, 55-10, an impressive win at Rutgers on Saturday. The Nittany Lions with offensive, defensive, and special teams touchdowns in the game, and Penn State is on a roll right now. So we welcome you live to the Unrivaled weekly preview show. That was head coach James Franklin moments ago. We'll hear from a couple of seniors on our show tonight. Coming up, defensive tackle P.J. Mustafer and linebacker Charlie Catcher. What should be a great show again here tonight to wrap up this 2022 regular season ahead of Senior Day and the battle for the Land Grant Trophy coming up on Saturday inside Beaver Stadium. A 4 p.m. kickoff on FS1 between Penn State and Michigan State. Brian Tripp, great to be with you once again. We just said the Land Grant Trophy is at stake this Saturday. Here's what Penn State's coaches and players are saying about that trophy as we see the quotes from head coach James Franklin, Sean Clifford, Jonathan Sutherland, and Jair Brown. So the Land Grant Trophy, Penn State looks to win it back. I think it's a beautiful trophy, by the way. They look to win it back on Saturday. So from the Land Grant Trophy to the 2022 Penn State football schedule, hard to believe we're at the end of the line here for the 2022 regular season. As you can see, Penn State wrapping up with a very strong November. The wins 45-14 at Indiana, 30-0 last time at home in the rain against Maryland, then 55-10 on Saturday at Rutgers. And now we dive into our game week schedule. You're watching the Unrivaled weekly preview show here on this Wednesday. Had a great coaches show last night for the 2022 football finale out at the Field Burger and Tap, the Penn State Coaches Show, presented by Pepsi. Thanksgiving Day tomorrow, then football, a busy day coming up on Saturday at Beaver Stadium. Team arrival is at 2 o'clock, and the senior ceremony presented by the Penn State Alumni Association begins at 3:30, kickoff at 4 o'clock on FS1. Let's dive into our key players to watch for this week's matchup now, and we start with Penn State and quarterback Sean Clifford. His final home game in a Penn State uniform, 313 yards and 3 touchdowns last year in the snow in East Lansing against Michigan State. In his career now, Sean, a remarkable career, first all-time for Penn State with over 10,000 passing yards, 80 passing touchdowns. He has that excellent completion percentage that ranks first in program history, and he is responsible for 95 career touchdowns. Well, the running back duo right now of Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, the 2 freshmen, I think it's the best duo in the Big Ten, and it's the first freshman running back tandem in Big Ten history to rush for at least 700 yards in a single season. Allen, 11 carries, 117 yards, and a touchdown at Rutgers last Saturday. Singleton ran for 122 yards on 11 carries against Maryland last time at home. And how about his 100-yard kickoff return touchdown against Rutgers on Saturday, the first of his career. And then safety Jair Brown, another senior who will be recognized at Beaver Stadium. His 70-yard scoop and score back in his home state of New Jersey against Rutgers. He's the team leader in tackles with 59, 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery. Really a remarkable career for the senior from Trenton via Lackawanna College. So from Penn State to Michigan State, that comes in here. A lot of familiar names for the Spartans. Peyton Thorne, now a redshirt junior at quarterback. 2,400 yards this year, 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions in his career, over 6,000 yards passing, 48 passing touchdowns. Also can be a little bit of a threat with his legs with 5 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Berger, redshirt sophomore running back, 21 carries, 119 yards last week against Indiana. They had a pair of 100-yard rushers in that game against the Hoosiers. This season, 669 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns. Reed, a factor in the passing game and on special teams, had a big game last year against Penn State. And the anchor of that defense is a Pennsylvania native who played at Southern Columbia, linebacker, redshirt sophomore, number 27, Cal Halliday, a player to watch on defense for Michigan State. So those are our key players to watch for this week's matchup between Penn State and Michigan State, the battle for the Land Grant Trophy and Senior Day at Beaver Stadium. So what better way than to wrap up our season here on the Unrivaled weekly preview show by talking to 2 key seniors. And we start with a man who, again, was injured last year, came back for a 5th season, and he's been such a leader for that Penn State defense, both on and off the field. Defensive tackle P.J. Mustafer. I had a chance to talk to P.J. yesterday to reflect on his 5 years in Happy Valley and the growth of his defense throughout the course of the season. PJ, when you reflect on your defense this season, what are you most proud of about this group?
Just proud of the way we have attacked each and every day. Regardless of the circumstance, that energy, the passion and the appreciation for one another. It just doesn't show up on Saturdays. It's all week long, and it's been fun to see. It's just gotten better as the season's gone on. And, when you think it's the best, it just keeps getting better. So just proud of the guys.
Where is your defense at its best right now?
There are a lot of areas, on Saturdays, the level of focus we have for our assignments. You don't see too many guys out of place, out of position, and we're executing at a high level. And I'd say that bond we have, and credit to Coach Manny, and the type of things he's instilled in us throughout the week, just playing together. When you have a defense that plays together and all 11 guys are on the same page and playing at a high level, like I said, you're going to have a great defense like we have.
I know it's a 1-0 mindset, but as you head into senior day, do you take time to reflect on your career here in Happy Valley?
Yeah, I've been kind of reflecting all season long, man. I've been here for 5 years. It's a pretty long time. I've met some amazing people, done some amazing things, and just so appreciative of every moment I've had. I've just been kind of take it all in. It's crazy that clock is starting to really tick down for me. But I got a couple more weeks left. I got a game left against Michigan State this Saturday, and hopefully a great bowl game. So I'm gonna just soak it all in.
What do you think the emotions will be like on Saturday for you out there?
I don't even know. I've been wondering. I've been thinking about it, but I guess I'll have to wait and see when that clock hits 0 on Saturday.
What are some of your fondest memories during your time here at Penn State?
Meeting the guys. I've met some amazing men in that locker room who have helped me in my life, who have molded and shaped me. I'm thankful to meet them because they've bettered me as a man. And I can't appreciate the relationships I have with each and every guy in that locker room, and each and every member that's a part of this staff and that's a part of this program. So, just the relationships I've had, I'll take them with me for the rest of my life.
Obviously, very difficult circumstances at the end of last year. How have you benefited from this fifth year?
I needed it. I needed it more than I thought. I've grown so much, not only as a football player but as a man. I've learned so many lessons. Just being in that leadership role this season again. I've really had to carve out who I was and not who I thought I was last season because I've faced a lot of hardships this season. But I've grown so much. And I'm blessed because I made the right decision, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It's crazy. It seems like just yesterday we were in Indianapolis talking about your conditioning test, and now here we are. It's amazing how time flies, isn't it?
It is. It is amazing. When I look back, it's crazy because I was actually thinking about this today. Just where I came from and where this team has come from in the summer. I was, thinking about my knee, thinking about what the season was going to look like, and all that type stuff. And now we're 11 games in. We got one more to go. It's just crazy, this journey. But that's what makes it so special. That's what makes this place so special is you just continue. You're demanded to grow. And growing is what we've done all year long.
PJ, it's been fun to watch. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
My thanks again to PJ Mustafer as we take a look at the game day schedule. Parking lots opening at 8 a.m. The Beaver Stadium block parties at 11 a.m. We'll have more on that in just a moment. Team arrival at 2. The gates also opening at 2. Come in early, be loud, be proud, and cheer on your team as the senior ceremony will begin at 3:30. And once again, that's presented by the Penn State Alumni Association. Talking about that Beaver Stadium block party on Curtin Road. All sorts of great stuff out there. Marketing, mini golf, food, live music. You can't go wrong. And, of course, the radio show starts at 2:30. So the radio show at 2:30. Team arrival at 2 o'clock on Curtin Road outside of Beaver Stadium. So a busy Saturday ahead here at Penn State, live from Beaver Stadium here today for the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. Just heard from PJ Mustafer. Linebacker Charlie Katcher has battled injuries during his Penn State career, but he's a leader for that Penn State defense, and he's a very integral part of what they've been able to do throughout the course of this 2022 season. And it's been so great to see Charlie back out on the football field. I got to know Charlie a little bit better yesterday as we had a chance to catch up. Let's check it out. All right, Charlie, as we head into senior day, how would you reflect on your journey to this point here at Penn State?
It's been a lot of fun. Great times up here with a bunch of awesome people and just an awesome ride.
For you personally, how would you describe what it's taken to get back out there on the field this year?
Just a lot of dedication, put in a lot of effort in the film room, in the training room, all over the place. And it feels great to get back out there.
And you get back out there and are able to share those moments and experiences with your teammates again. I'm sure they're thrilled to see you back out there as well. What has that been like, their reaction?
It's been awesome to see all the guys having my back and just being with me every step of the way. And it's awesome.
And your defense has grown so much throughout the course of the season. What would you attribute that to?
It's a big part is Coach Diaz coming in, kind of stepping up and changing some things, getting new kids in there, and just overall, it's a great adjustment.
What has the mentality been every day to make sure the defense continues to get better?
Just kind of coming in, working every single day, and getting better and better, competing with each other, make yourselves better, and just overall just kind of working together and just forcing each other to get better.
I want to talk more about you, but first we have to ask you about some of those young linebackers that you have, Abdul Carter and Kobe King. What's impressive about those two?
Just how athletic and smart they are. They've come a long way since spring ball, and Abdul especially is coming right on campus. He's going to be a great player.
Yeah, what impresses you most about him?
Just his athleticism, probably. He's a freak athlete.
Here at linebacker you and playing linebacker for Penn State.
It's awesome. It's an awesome tradition, and it's really an honor to be a part of LBU, and having Dan Connor come back and help coach us it's really awesome.
I know you get to see Jack Ham at practice often. There's so many great legacy guys here. What do you think Saturday is going to be like for you, though?
It's going to be emotional. Last time playing in Beaver Stadium, but it's going to be a lot of fun being out there.
How would you describe, to someone who hasn't had that opportunity to play at Beaver Stadium, how would you describe that?
I'd probably just say electric. It's just one of the best experiences I've ever experienced in my entire life. Running out in the field, just looking around, seeing all the fans, how loud it is. It's just an awesome experience.
As you go through this week, I know there's such a 1-0 mindset with the team, but have you had time to reflect on what some of your fondest memories are while wearing the blue and white?
Yeah, a little bit. Kind of rolling down to my last game here. I got to sit back and just kind of think about the times I had here, and it's been pretty cool.
Charlie, really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
When Charlie's not on the field, like the Penn State players on the sideline, he's sitting on our DeWalt benches. Thank you, DeWalt, for being the proud bench partner of Penn State Athletics and for keeping our players game ready while on the sideline. And from the sidelines in the field here in Happy Valley to across the country in the National Football League, let's see how our Nittany Lions fared this week. Penn State in the NFL. Steelers tight end Pat Freiermuth tied a season high on Sunday with 8 catches for 79 yards, giving him 44 receptions this season, 6th most among NFL tight ends. Rams wide receiver Allen Robinson found the end zone from 6 yards out with his 3rd touchdown reception this year. Robinson ended the day with 4 catches. Bears safety Jaquan Brisker continued his monster rookie season with this forced fumble and 11 tackles at the Falcons on Sunday. And finally, another big game for Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons, who started the game with this strip sack and added his 2nd sack of the game later in Sunday's rout of the Vikings. What another great week for Nittany Lions at the next level. And fans, if you're coming to Happy Valley this weekend, whether you're supporting our football team or some of the other great teams that we have here on campus, make sure you practice Happy Valley hospitality. Be loud, be proud, be respectful, be great fans, be responsible, and be gracious hosts. Show why Penn State has the very best fans in the country. Also, if you're coming to the game, make sure, I'm sure by now you know about our new clear bag policy this year. Just one final reminder, 12 inches by 6 inches by 12 inches. All the other details right there for you on your screen. And then after the game on Saturday, we'll wrap up the regular season with a live edition of the Unrivaled postgame show. We'll have immediate reaction from head coach James Franklin and players after the game as Penn State looks to go 1-0 again this week and end the season with 4 straight victories as they wrap up this 2022 regular season hosting Michigan State. And what a season it has been so far here on the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. We're so excited to wrap up the season on Saturday. We've had a great show all year long. Appreciate the support of everyone from the Penn State football staff and also Ross Woomer, Matt Wagner, and our entire team that has brought this to you each and every week. Can't wait for the game on Saturday, and hopefully we have a great crowd here at Beaver Stadium for Penn State and Michigan State on Senior Day. But this is not the only event on campus this week. In fact, live right now as we take a look at our schedule on Big Ten Plus, airing men's ice hockey against Alaska Fairbanks. More on that, in fact, in just a moment. Coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, Penn State women's volleyball is at Northwestern at 8 p.m. Katie Schumacher-Colley's team coming off a great weekend at home with a big match against the Wildcats before they return home this weekend for one final match on Friday night against Purdue. And then Friday at 7 on Big Ten Plus, Lafayette and Penn State battle in men's basketball. That's Friday on Big Ten Plus. Lafayette and Penn State in men's basketball. But as we said, airing right now live on Big Ten Plus, Penn State ice hockey ranked 7th nationally, going for the sweep against Alaska Fairbanks. Let's take a live look in to wrap up this week's Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show.